Okay, this particular video is about ultraviolet cleaning. When I first found out about this, I thought it would be a great solution for me because as I'm getting older, some of my allergy problems are getting worse, including those which are related to pollen and house dust. So I thought if I could get rid of more dust mites, ultraviolet cleaning could be a good thing. I was very excited about it, and I wanted to look into the uses of UV and to see whether I could actually get some productive benefit out of it. Also, I have another interest as well, on this one particular channel, and that is to move towards off-grid living. And so if there's environmentally friendly ways in which I can use the power from the sun through the power of rechargeable batteries to assist me in keeping the place clean and dust mite and mold free, then obviously that would be a great benefit. So I had to try and find out from the internet what other people's opinion of ultraviolet cleaning was and whether it was actually going to be beneficial. Now, all I managed to do is get lots of people saying all kinds of different things, some of whom did not seem to have actually read the instructions on the box of one of these ultraviolet ones, or indeed done any experimentation to see which method and which wand is the best for doing things with. Now, let me just start from the top. Do I personally have experiences which have demonstrated to me conclusively that the ultraviolet UV-C radiation which comes out of these devices does actually kill germs? Bottom line, yes. There was a time when I wasn't taking buses, I was walking everywhere, so my shoes were getting really grossy and sweaty and horrid. And I used this wand and placed it in my shoe for 5 minutes and then did another couple of minutes for the outside, underneath the tongue and all around it. And after that period of time, the shoe was not smelly anymore, and it was, I could shove my nose straight into it and sniff it, and there was no, unpleasant, terrible, sweaty smell at all. Also, I had a problem with mold at one point, and I used this particular UV wand and directed the lights on the inside of the atomizers of my electronic cigarette, which previously had a terrible, moldy, woody, rotten flavour. And after 20 seconds, all the nasty, unpleasant flavour was gone. So I have experiential evidence that even the small, dirt, cheap ultraviolet ones do actually kill germs. These ones certainly kill germs. I've had experiences in the kitchen when I had just done some regular cleaning, and I then passed this particular wand over an area which I've been cooking some tomato sauces, and this was after I'd done regular cleaning, and all of a sudden there was a smell, a cloud of aroma of tomatoey sauce smell coming up. Now that was essentially the bacteria that was feasting on all of the little dribbles of tomato sauce that had just ended up on the work surface being killed off. So that shows me that yes, these cheap ones do actually do something good, but they do, take some time to operate. But I wanted to do some proper domestic cleaning. I did not necessarily just want to spend time, nitpicking over tiny little areas. So essentially, I've upgraded to one of these things here. All right. Now, about what these particular styles of wands are actually good for. This one's supposed to be a travel wand. All right. This grey bit opens up. Let's see if I can do it one-handedly. There you go. That's the UV light there. But basically, what is this good for? If you were traveling and you ended up in sharing a bathroom with someone who basically didn't look after their hygiene and you went into that bathroom, you could not, I repeat, not use this one to completely clean the bathroom. Okay? This one works great with things like your toothbrush or your toothbrush head, very small personal items. Yes, you can sort of like get it open and scan it over your mobile phone or the phone on your desk, but it only opens up that far. So essentially, if you wanted to clean a flat surface, you couldn't, because the only real place where the ultraviolet is strong is there. It's not over the whole length of the bulb. Now, I have demonstrated the use of this one particular wand when purifying water, and I think that that's a good way of doing it, provided, of course, you're safe from the possibility of any mercury leakage from the bulb itself. All right, but it has its uses, but it also has its problems. This one, on the other hand, I'm of the opinion that the bulb on this one is just the same strength as the bulb on the small one, because essentially in the darkened room, the visible components of the light coming out of it is just as bright as the light coming out of the small one. This particular style of wand is rather generic. Different companies seem to have the same style of wand, but just with their logos printed on it. So I don't know whether they're just one massive company somewhere in China that makes these things, and then a promotional merchandise company comes along and then brands it, or whether there's like open source plans out there that different companies can take their ideas from. But this one is very generic. In reality, it's okay for maybe small table areas, for your keyboard on your computer, for your mouse, little things like that. It's good for that sort of thing. But if you want to do a larger area like the whole of your bed prior to getting a good night's sleep, it struggles a bit because it takes a long time. And the light, it's got some visibility to it, but of course the ultraviolet, which kills off all the germs and all the dust mites and the rest of that, is supposed to be 25 times brighter or 30 times brighter than the actual visible light which comes out of the bottom of the bulb. So that's something you have to take into account when you're using it. It's very, there was I think it was a Fox 8 news article about ultraviolet ones, and they said that you don't feel like you're cleaning. Well, that is correct. You don't feel like you're cleaning when you're using it. The light will kill off bacteria, but if there's like a bit of dust on a surface and the light can't penetrate, it would make sense that there could still be bacteria underneath those bits of dust. So you have to do a lot of extensive dry dusting first prior to using your ultraviolet one, or you could do wet dusting and then dry off the area afterwards, okay? And then you can actually use the wand quite nicely. Now this one here, by comparison, gives off a hell of a lot more light. It's supposed to have a different style of bulb, but that's 3 watt. This one's supposed to be 4 watt. You would have thought, well, that isn't that much of an increase. But the style and type of bulb is supposed to be different, so it can do more. So I'm just going to show you kind of like a bit of a feeling of the brightness of this one. I'll do it on that object there. So you can see there's some blue light there, okay, or bluish light. Let's turn that one off. Turn this one on, and there's an awful lot more bluish light coming out the bottom. Now with this one, I used it to clean a aluminium surface, I think it was, and there was actually some reflected light bouncing from the wand off the aluminium surface and onto the backs of my hands, and it felt like I was getting sunburnt. So I'm of the opinion that this one here is, in practice, a lot more powerful than these two. Okay, so I have more confidence that this one is good for killing off dust mites in carpets and all the rest of that kind of jazz. Whereas this one, it's best to keep it on your desk, in my opinion. So you can just use it for your keyboard, your mouse, and little things whilst you're on a phone call with somebody else. And this one here, that's more for your small personal items. Okay, now one thing I do like about ultraviolet as a cleaning or germ killing solution, because it's not really cleaning, it won't get rid of grease, it won't get rid of grime. If there is bacterial buildup, you still need to remove the bacterial buildup using normal cleaning methods prior to using UV. Now if that's just a wet sponge, then fine, as long as you're removing the physical stuff so you can then get straight through to the surface. But you can use rechargeable batteries. Alright, this one actually comes with a stand which recharges it. So if you got yourself an inverter and you're running off a bank of 12 volt batteries, then essentially you can charge it straight off the stand. Or you could take the 8 AAA batteries out of here and recharge them separately on a solar charger. This one contains 4 AA's, and again you can recharge them. This one contains 4 AAA's, and again you can recharge them. Okay, so that's good. One thing I've noticed about these 2 white ones here, alright, is that the brightness diminishes quite a lot as the batteries go down. Alright, so you've got to have the batteries freshly charged all the time. To have one which rests on a stand which recharges it means that any single time you want to use it, it's already going to be at maximum brightness. Alright, so that's why I think it's good. Another experience I've had which demonstrates that this technology works is I realized I was feeling rather itchy in bed. Okay, and I came to the conclusion that that could well have been dust mite activity or similar allergens affecting the skin. So I thought to myself, okay, we'll do an extensive UV sweep on the underside of the top bed sheet, the top of the bottom bed sheet, as well as all sides of the pillow. Okay, and I did that, and I spent maybe about between 5 and 10 minutes doing it, which can be a bit tedious. So you sing a little song to yourself or play a bit of music whilst you're doing it. Okay, and that night I slept a lot better. Okay, because I had that extra one little niggly factor which was stopping me from sleeping taken away. namely the itchiness. So I've done that every single night, and it's now part of my nightly regime. So yeah, ultraviolet technology does actually kill off some things which are nasty. Alright, that's as far as I'm concerned a hard and fast fact. Okay, whether it's in your electronic cigarette atomizers, on your toothbrush, if you're sharing a bathroom with someone who's unhygienic, or whether, or whatever. So, the technology does kill things off. I don't believe it's a substitute for other forms of cleaning, but I also think it's something you can do between more arduous cleaning shifts in order to reduce the need for you to have to have your cleaning shifts quite as frequent. And also, if you've got a problem with dust mites or similar things, then essentially it probably is a very useful technology for yourself. And yes, it can be done off-grid. Okay, so you can purify water, you can kill dust mites, you can keep your desk relatively sanitary. This one's also good to have in your kitchen, because you can just quickly wipe it over, scan it over your knives and your forks. So that will make sure they're slightly less likely to be, nasty. And after you've done a proper cleaning shift in the kitchen, it's a good idea to wipe your wand or scan your wand over the area. Now, one thing that's difficult is just trying to keep your, the distance of the bulb over the surface just right. When you're using it, it seems like slow, steady passes work better, as opposed to doing that. Because, if you've been doing a lot of normal cleaning, you're kind of like in the I want to scrub this mentality rather than the I am irradiating this kind of mentality. And I don't think that really helps if you're trying to use ultraviolet as a cleaning technology. I think what you got to do is slower, more steady passes, and make sure you try and cover the area as best you can. It is lengthy, but I am of the opinion that ultraviolet can work as one of the many cleaning technologies that you can use. And on top of that, if you've got a cat who's spreading his cat dander everywhere, it's a good idea to try and find new ways of controlling that particular issue as well. Alright, so one of the reasons I wanted to do this particular video is because you come onto YouTube and you see all these people who are selling crap. That's it. It's like, come and buy this, come and buy that, come and buy this, come and buy that. You don't actually listen, hear from people who've actually been properly successful in using these bloody things. That's why I thought I'd do this video. Alright? So you need to, if you wanted to clean your whole kitchen and bathroom, having one of these would not actually be, it would take too long. The bulb size might be roughly the same as the one on this one in terms of length, but this is a different type and quality and caliber of bulb. That one is more shielded, physically shielded. As you can see, there's less of a gap for the light to get out of. This one is broader and has got more reflective material around it. So even if that was the same type of bulb as that, this one's still more efficient. Okay? And it's just so much brighter, it has to be a different quality of bulb. Okay? And yeah, it's rather weird, it's rather difficult to describe. But when you've got an area and you're scanning over it, you've got your light going, okay, and you're scanning over the area. If it's a mucky area, after a while it will somehow feel cleaner. The area you've done will actually feel cleaner. It's almost like we humans have got an innate sense when something is like contaminated. And sometimes you will feel it. You will feel an actual difference in the area that you're cleaning using UV. Right, UV-C, I should say. Right. So, yeah. Remember that the longer you take over it, the more likelihood you are that you're killing off many things, and the more frequently you do it, the more likely you are of keeping the whole area comparatively clean and dust mite free and like bacteria free. But yeah, I'm of the opinion that there is a benefit to using it. Now, if you are an allergy sufferer, you might also want to think about steam cleaners and vacuum cleaners that have a HEPA filter to it, HEPA for high efficiency something or other air particle or something like that. Okay, HEPA, which basically helps to remove all the micro small things such as dust mites, fecal matter, and God alone knows what else. And I understand they're quite effective. But yeah, I'm slowly increasing my collection of ultraviolet tools, and I'll be getting more in the future. But anyway, that's information on how to use it. Oh yeah, the type of surface you're cleaning will probably react differently. If you're doing flat surfaces like you do your countertop where you do your food preparation, that'll be a lot easier. Okay, obviously if you do give it a dust and remove any particles and debris first. But if you're doing fabrics, it might be worthwhile taking longer over it so the light can penetrate deeper. Just thought I'd quickly mention that. Anyway, that's how to properly understand ultraviolet ones.